What is going on, and welcome to another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, the beautiful game of life, part of the Believe Network. I'm Ramsey Abushala, editor of UrbanPitch.com. My normal co-host, Tulio Matorosa, is out this week, but we have some very special guest co-hosts filling in for him. You know them from the Angel City FC podcast, Up in the Clouds. They're Urban Pitch contributors, Kyle Scoble and Jeremy Rist. What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
How's it going?
Yeah.
A really good editor at that, too.
Yeah.
You've always made my writing look like it makes sense, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, no, your writing usually does make sense. It just needs a little tweaks. That's all. I mean, that's my job. That's
my
job.
writing doesn't make sense. There's always a question of Ramsey being like, Kyle, what did you mean with this sentence?
But no. Normally I understand what it is. I'm just not 100% sure.
Fair enough.
So,
Fair
but
enough.
anyways, I mean, it's great to have you guys on. Like I said, it's awesome that you guys started the podcast Up in the Clouds. You guys have been covering Angel City FC. Today we're going to be covering some Rivalry Week action.
Yeah.
I have to say Rivalry Week really slow. I was practicing in the mirror this morning.
Rivalry Week.
Yeah, that's a tongue twister in itself.
Rivalry Week.
We got El Trafico, LAFC, LA Galaxy, and then the Chanclasico, Angel City and San Diego
First
Wave.
time.
First regular season match.
First regular season.
Yeah, in the preseason. But before we get into all of that, there's been a couple of happenings in the soccer world, specifically the U.S. soccer world. I don't know if you heard, but MLS and Apple TV, big time.
Big deal.
We're talking billions of dollars here, $2.5 billion over 10 years. TV rights deal. It's the league was looking. They're in their last year of their current contract. They're still. It's not an exclusive deal from what I've been reading. Where they're still going to be on national TV. They're looking to work a deal with one of the cable networks. But what are you guys' thoughts on all of this going on? I know both of you have some MLS TV takes because you guys did write an op-ed last year. Go check that out on UrbanPitch.com. But
we did.
What are you guys' thoughts on the deal? What do you think it means for U.S. soccer moving forward, specifically MLS?
I think it's really interesting. I mean, 10 years is a long time.
Yeah.
To get that length is really interesting. I think at the end of the day, their numbers have not been good. Like the national numbers, especially Fox numbers, are not good, and they just needed to mix it up and just fundamentally change how we access MLS. And this is that. Whether or not it's going to work, we'll see. But I have to applaud the trying something new and really trying to mix it up. The one thing I really like that they did that we kind of touched on was they're doing pretty much every game on Saturday and Wednesday. And I think that's huge. I think that's going to be really, really good for casual fans to find other teams to watch and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so if you're new in this summer window, so now we've got, none of the major sports other than baseball to compete with, and the MLS is going to be on a Wednesday and going to be on a Saturday. That's going to be a big advantage to them. What pops into my mind is almost like CNN Plus.
Today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. Our friends at Bet Online continue to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest odds, news, and sports development, including this year's basketball championship finals, the NHL Hockey Conference Finals, Major League Baseball, the latest fighting news, and even next season's early NFL futures. Head over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to get in the action. Bet Online, where the game starts.
This also feels like CNN Plus.
Hopefully it's not.
Hopefully it lasts longer than 2 months.
I mean, hopefully, but they're going to create their own type of app within an app where you can access everything. And so, who are the diehard MLS fans that are looking for this, or who are the casual fans that are looking for this? I just still kind of feel like the major battle has been, how do you break into ESPN? Yeah. And how do you get talked about on First Take, and how you get talked about on SportsCenter and have your highlights on SportsCenter and the storylines talked about in this kind of larger national narrative of sports that we have here. Yeah. And I don't think they've ever been able to break into that. And now they think they're going to go off on their own.
That's a great point, because you mentioned casual fans. I think the diehard MLS fans are they're gonna go for that, right? Because it's an additional, even if you're Apple TV Plus subscriber, it's an additional who knows how much.
I think
they haven't said
price,
how much.
I think that price is going to be huge.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it's who besides besides diehard fans are going to pay for that, right?
Yeah, that's
Nobody.
the question.
So I mean, like for me myself, as you know, like the streaming, there's so many options. Whether you have Netflix, HBO Max, Amazon, Hulu, like Paramount Plus, all of these options, Apple TV's in there.
Totally.
It gets exhausting, and it's almost like maybe cable got it right the first time, because that's what it's getting. That's what it's coming back to right now. But
it really does feel like that, though.
I do think the storytelling behind MLS is gonna have to step up. Kelvin Loyola, one of our writers based in Uruguay, did a good piece on MLS TV, their TV deal, what they're looking for, and I mean the money's great. 250 mil. They're looking for 300 mil a year, so they're still.
Not quite there.
They're not quite there, but they're not done. They're not done yet.
It's honestly more than I thought they would get.
Yeah.
I did not think they would.
$250 million a year is significant. I think they were around like 90 million, which is that's an incredible
Yeah.
So I mean, with the increased investment, you'd think that they're going to get better storytelling.
Yeah.
And I think they've done a decent job with some of the in-house stuff that they do, but no one is watching that except for fans that are already there. So. To expand to those casual fans, they're going to need to do a lot more in the marketing department.
A lot more in the marketing department, and I think the guaranteeing of a whip around show, I think addresses the casual fan. Like for $60 a year, I'm just throwing that number out there, but like for $60 a year as a casual fan with a good, solid like Red Zone style whip around show, would you subscribe? I don't know. That's kind of the angle and pitch that they're taking. It feels like.
Yeah.
What do you mean by whip around show?
Like what NFL Red Zone is?
Yeah.
They're doing that as part of the Apple deal. That's part of the deals. They're doing a whip around show. And that's why they're doing the Wednesday and Saturdays. So they can do a whip around show with it.
I hate it. It's another stealing an NFL idea for something that doesn't make sense. Like this is not the NFL. You can't just like show me soccer once they're in the attacking third.
NBC did a really good whip around show a couple years ago.
I think it's not going to be like Red Zone where they're only showing that, because it's hard to do that. Whereas football, the way the ball moves up the field is different.
It's more predictable.
But I think it's just going to be they're going to jump from
whichever
game to game
is more.
Well,
exciting.
I guess like the Golasso Champions.
Yes,
League.
exactly,
Okay.
like that, exactly.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. I mean that's a little better. I don't know if I would sit down for that. I mean, still like the MLS has the issue of, and whoever ends up having to be the people, fresh out of college intern doing the story on the MLS thing is gonna have some trouble when it comes to storytelling, because it's just a brand new thing every single season. Coaches get fired, nobody knows. Coaches get hired, nobody knows. Guys leave, nobody knows. Guys come in, nobody knows. You have no idea what's happening with this league. It's just completely different season to season. There is no kind of consistent powerhouse. There's nothing to really
Whoa, the Seattle Sounders
I will
would
give you
like
that.
to put one foot down there real quick.
You guys are the consistent power. I'll give that. This is the Seattle fan over here.
CONCACAF champions, baby.
Yeah.
Continental champions.
I got my CONCACAF champions shirt. I should have worn it today.
But you didn't.
It's actually kind of a lame shirt. I'm like,
so it's not like a
but
jersey,
you
it's
would
just a
still
t-shirt?
think my point still kind of stands though, right? Of there's not consistency.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
there is
year to
not
year, it's
consistency
very,
in the
very
league.
random. But Seattle's strong, and Dallas is strong. I think Dallas is shown to be a real program that develops.
It's more of their academy, I think.
Yeah, their academy has shown there's kind of different strengths, but I mean, good luck storytelling with that league is all I'm saying.
It's a fair point, because Ricardo Pepi was in the league for how long?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just don't get that much time with these players that are the good players, and that's who you want to be building the stories around. And so I do think that's a really fair point. And I think it is something that MLS has to try to figure out how to do, because they are undoubtedly a selling league. Yeah, and they should be. I'm not saying they shouldn't be, but how do you navigate that against leagues that don't have to compete, like the NFL, MLB, and NBA? They just don't have to compete, Yeah. And so it is unique, and it is really, really difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. The turnover in MLS is
high.
stark. I mean, because if you're a top player, you don't want to stay in MLS your whole career.
Yeah.
And then the guys coming into MLS, the big
Almiron was what, 2 years?
Yeah, but I mean, Atlanta United just signed it. I can't think of his name.
Oh, the Mexican defender?
Yeah. So they're bringing in big names.
Totally.
But at the same time, they're not doing interviews, they're not doing press because, English isn't their first language. It's hard to get that. So, I mean, the incoming transfers that they're paying millions of dollars for, it's hard to build stories around as well. So it's definitely a conundrum. There's going to be people that get paid a lot of money that need to try and figure that out.
Much more than us to figure it out, yeah.
Yeah, so, but in addition to that, another big kind of happening in recent U.S. soccer news is they announced the World Cup venues.
Yes.
2026, big year, obviously. North America getting the bid, Canada, U.S., and Mexico.
And an expanded World Cup.
It'll
be the first one with 48 teams is the number. Yeah.
Wow. So all the people crying that Italy isn't getting in, they need to make more spots for UEFA.
Exactly. There's no worry now.
When like AFCON qualifying is just literally the most like grueling set of all time. But yes, please, Italy can't beat North Macedonia.
Like
and they
legitimately Thunderdome down there.
Yeah. Well, Mo Salah's getting freaking laser pointers in his eyes. But yes, please tell me about how Italy can't beat North Macedonia and they need to be in the World Cup, please.
Yeah.
But anyways,
we digress.
World Cup coming to LA.
SoFi. I was surprised
Stadium.
because they said SoFi was too small, so they're going to have to make some changes to the stadium.
No, SoFi's huge.
The field is too small.
Oh,
it doesn't meet
itself.
FIFA regulations.
Interesting.
Wow.
So they're going to have to expand the field to some degree, which I thought was fascinating.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's I did not know that
Yeah.
at all. I missed that. Yeah. So
I mean, and again, like it should be the Rose Bowl. Like put the thing in the Rose Bowl that has all the history, that has, that is the greatest soccer venue in America is the Rose Bowl.
I mean,
that's a hot take.
That is a hot take. I like that. I support that.
Have you been? When's the last time you were at the
that.
Rose Bowl though?
I went to. I mean, even for soccer,
for anything.
I went with shout out to Kevin from Urban Pitch.
Yeah.
We went to a Fresno UCLA game.
I was at that game. I was covering that
game
for the Dinuba Fresno Tribune or something like that.
Go.
But I was getting
Rose
a freelance
Bowl,
action
baby.
going on. But
I was also there for Barcelona Tottenham in the
I remember that.
Champions Cup or whatever, and that was like 80,000 people like in the Rose Bowl. Like you just realize how perfect that stadium is. The grass is there, like the weather's there. It's got all the history of like Columbia, USA with the own goal was there. Brianna Scurry was there with the Brandy Chastain and everything. What more do you want? Like that is World Cup.
Yeah, but I think what the Rose Bowl lacks compared to SoFi is the amenities. I will say that it's a classic stadium. Obviously, a lot of history. It's beautiful, like in a beautiful area, Pasadena. Like
huge,
you have the backdrop, like it's
backdrop.
gigantic,
Totally.
Incredible.
like the history's there. But walking in the stadium and stuff, like it's just for me. It leaves a little bit more to be wanted. I mean, maybe I'm spoiled with going to Bank of California Stadium so often, like a stadium that's just like so modern and is a little bit more
stadium,
posh than so I think that's a big part of it. And
Even let's play both sides and give the Galaxy a shout out too.
I mean Dignity Health is good. It's a good.
That stadium kicks ass too. Yeah,
it's a great stadium. Like great seating, But I mean, I think it does definitely doesn't get the love it should get necessarily because it's kind of in the sticks. Two, it's pales a little bit in comparison to the bank.
The one thing they do there that I love is they have like the official tailgate zones for the SGs.
Yes,
and those things are covered with grills. Like those things are cool. Like
and
the official tailgate.
I will say the tailgates. Jeremy, you did that story covering the Riot Squad tailgate.
Oh, they're so good.
Yeah,
the tailgates there are great.
The tailgates are so real.
Yeah. I mean, they have probably the best porta potty lineup I've ever.
It's elite.
It's great.
It's elite for sure.
Like porta potty or not, it's a good bathroom.
Yeah.
Whereas LAFC, sometimes we're there at the Angel City.
Oh yeah,
at the Angel City tailgate, and you have to go to the freaking Science Center you have to pay $10 to go to the bathroom. Like, what are we doing here? But, anyways,
you get a little science lesson. You get a little bathroom break.
You get to watch some TV. But so we're excited about the World Cup 2026. It's gonna be a big year. Hopefully. That's the catalyst for soccer in the country to
apparently MLS viewership is already up since the announcement.
Yeah.
Last weekend, like there was like a bit of a jump, but I didn't realize with the expanded teams, there's only like 2 group games now, and it's like 3 team groups or something.
Oh, really? I didn't know that's how it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Wild rules.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know if I like that.
I know that.
No,
I want
if that's 4 teams
true,
per group. Like,
yeah,
gotta have 4
right.
teams.
3 games, you get one that can be a loss or a tie, and you still got your chant.
Yeah,
you know,
that makes the margin for error a little bit,
intense.
Yeah.
Also, should we make predictions on what region the U.S. is going to be in? Because they have the 4 regions for the.
Well, they got to be on the
stadiums.
West Coast, man.
I think they'll be West Coast. I think they're going to do SoFi in Seattle.
Hopefully.
I'm also just wondering, like, so SoFi is gonna bring in like real grass for
as
this.
As is the Seattle Stadium.
Yeah.
As
they
is
have
Bank
to.
or BC Place. I think is going to have to do the same.
Yeah.
So the women have to play on turf, but the men don't have to play on turf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds standard.
Yeah.
That's about standard.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah. Yeah, but they'll chalk it up to how the game has grown in the 4 years, or I guess that would be 9 years after the 2015.
Yeah, that was 2015. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a bad look. That's more fuel for another lawsuit, coming their way. But
that is an interesting point, though. Just pretty stark difference.
I mean, because the women were on the verge of protesting for Canada with the World Cup when it was there, and they were going to force them to play on turf, and they were going to protest and not play at all. And then they gave in. They played. I mean, Carly Lloyd scored a goal from midfield, which also only happens on turf, I guess, like on grass. Really? Are you really like, I don't know. Do you think that would have happened on grass?
Ask David Beckham. All I know is Beckham has a couple.
I don't know. I don't think that had to do with the playing surface. I mean, the goalie was way off her line. Like,
it's like turf's faster.
Turf is faster.
I don't know. If, like
turf
maybe
is faster.
I don't know.
The balls bounce higher, so maybe.
Kind of a bizarre. I mean, I'm making that comment on just like turf in general. I'm just like, it's a different game. It's just kind of a different game. It makes it harder to watch.
MLS and
Well, what was it like? Henry wouldn't play on turf for a couple seasons in MLS.
I
respect the hell out of that.
He just straight up, if it was an away game at a turf, you just knew he wasn't even going to travel.
I'm out. He Kawhi'd it.
Hey man, respect. Powers of the players, right? Player empowerment. Right? All right, so let's get into this now. What we're here for. A couple of rivalries here in Los Angeles.
Back to back
at the Bank of California.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, the way, I don't know if they probably didn't line it up on purpose, but just the way
I would hope so, but I don't know.
Nothing with American soccer is overly intentional.
Yeah, so exactly. The way the NWSL schedule is, I can't imagine it's intentional.
Yeah.
They probably scheduled it on the same day, and they were like, wait,
right.
hold up.
So Friday, July 8th, we got El Trafico versus with LAFC and LA Galaxy. Saturday is what we're calling the Chanclasico, is the tentative. There's been a couple of names thrown out there between Angel
Is this
City
coming
FC
from
and
the
San
Twitterverse or the Redditverse?
Yeah, Twitter.
Or
I think Twitter.
I think Twitter. I saw it more on Twitter. Chanclasico.
Yeah. So let's talk about the names, because El Trafico, I think has kind of settled in, and it's. I like it. I think we're all fans of it. But
I love El Trafico.
Yeah.
I was
when it first
battling El Trafico to get here.
Yeah,
today.
Today, I mean, it's a Friday afternoon.
We were battling El Trafico.
The 110, the 405, the 105, all backed up. But anyways, when it first came out, people were like polarized.
Yeah.
About it. They were like, "This is so bad. It's so corny. Like, why can't we have just an organic name? Why do we have to force this upon us?" And I think the same thing is kind of happening for
That's so funny.
the Angel City one. But I mean, to me, it's like MLS is a little goofy.
Yeah.
U.S. soccer a little bit goofy. Like to just stop taking ourselves so seriously. There's so many American soccer fans who just hate. I don't know if they hate themselves or they hate soccer. Or they hate. There's just so much, like, whether it's USMNT Twitter talking about the roster. There's just so much like self-inwards hate when it comes to like American soccer traditions
and taking it really serious,
very incredibly seriously. And I think El Trafico it's funny. It's clever. It's corny. But all these things make it good.
It's a great pun. It's a great play on words.
Yeah.
El Clasico is the rivalry that we all know and love, and no, don't call us the SoCal El Clasico. That's like literally too many words, and just kind of like, we're a lamer version of this other rivalry. Like,
it's
you can accomplish all of that by calling it El Trafico. Like, it's funny. Like, it's just it's a play on kind of like Spanglish. It's kind of a little bit. I don't know. I like it, man.
Yeah.
I like it.
And
it's goofy, but that's the joke.
Yeah.
Like, if you call it out for that and be too serious about that, it's like, can't explain the joke.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's
and it did arise organically.
Right,
from just like people bullshitting online, and like it was funny every time. Like at a certain point, you know, a joke will win out just because it's good.
Yeah. Right. And I think some of the other like purported names for the Chanclasico, the Angel City San Diego Wave rivalry, there was like the SoCal Clásico del Cinco, which
Del Cinco.
like SoCal Clásico
5 highway.
Yeah, because it's like the 5 connects San Diego and LA. But
and again, too many words.
Yeah.
That one is
but I mean, when I hear SoCal Clásico, to me that's just the lamest thing.
Yeah, that's so lame.
It sounds like a youth tournament. You know, we were talking about this earlier today, but
and that would be cool for a youth tournament.
Yeah,
SoCal
the
Clásico.
SoCal
I'd be hyped
Clásico,
to play in that, you know?
Totally.
It's the elite of the elite.
Yeah.
You know, U7s to U15s.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we got plenty of Capri Sun, plenty of you know, orange slices. But,
orange slices, baby.
Yeah, on deck. But let's talk about this Angel City rivalry a little bit. First off, where we're at right now.
Pretty different spots.
Yeah, so San Diego's been the class of the league so far. I mean, they're cruising in first place by a bunch. Alex Morgan has returned to superstar status.
Can't stop scoring goals.
She was with Orlando before, and like there's like open just reports of her not trying there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in Orlando, I guess, but
there was some. I've seen on the Twitterverse too that there was some bad juju or maybe like, you know, harassment, kind of like your typical NWSL kind of sketchiness at the top, that kind of dysfunction, if you want to say that. Like everyone's left that Orlando program.
And I mean they had some players. I mean, you know, you have Marta, you have Alex Morgan, you have
Sid LaRue,
you have Krieger and Harris, and you're not making the playoffs. Like, come on, man, that's
weird. There's something going on there.
But anyway, she's had a renaissance season, career high in goals. She's outscored the Angel City team on her own.
By a few. And I mean, besides her though, San Diego, I think it's easy to get lost in the Alex Morgan of it all because, you know, she's such a visible star. She's
banging goals.
Banging in goals. But her supporting cast, I think, has a lot to do with it. It's I mean, you know, Naomi Gurma, rookie center back. Taylor Korniak just got called up to the U.S.
And Korniak's the tall.
She's the tall midfielder. Who's just kind of been like
that stands out to me immediately when I watch her play. I'm just like, she's a legit.
Must be nice to have a midfield.
Must be nice
because Angel City's midfield has been a little bit inconsistent. They've shown signs. I mean, Weatherholt, Recaro, and McCaskill have been the 3 primary midfielders.
Oh, we're getting into the weeds now. Let's go.
yeah.
Let's break this. This is what we do on the pod.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know, they break this down every home game. You guys just go through, you know, what worked, what didn't work. You'll throw some spicy takes out there. Half of them I'll agree with. Half of them I'll be yelling at my car radio.
Oh, wow. Probably most of Kyle's.
Dude, no. You're talking spicy about Didi. You're talking spicy about Didi early on in the season. And,
I was talking spicy about Didi.
But then you came
I don't
around.
talk spicy anymore, though.
But
I had an issue when it was an issue, and now I don't have an issue. Like,
I don't think I'll argue that there was never an issue. But, I mean, that's me. That's me. We're both in the goalkeeper union, so, you know, we stick together.
There it is.
I'm in the amateur ranks, but, you know.
There it is.
It is what it is. But Angel City, on the other hand, have struggled a little bit. They got off to a hot start. I mean, both of them were at the top of the table at the beginning of the season. The injury bugs bit us a little bit. I say us because, you know, Angel City supporter or season ticket holder.
Let's say us.
Yeah. But, you know, the injury bugs bitten us. Obviously, Kristen Press, torn ACL. Jasmine Spencer has been out for a while. Vanessa Gilles is missing some time. Simone Charlie's been in and out. Sarah Gordon hasn't even played. Ertz is like technically not on the team.
Yeah, we don't actually have her signed, right?
Yeah,
but we have her.
We own her. It's like Tobin and Heath in Louisville. And,
totally. And now Rain, but yeah.
Yeah, and so if anyone wants to sign Julie once she comes back from her pregnancy, they would have to.
Hopefully it's us, but
hopefully it's us. We could use a good 6, but What have you guys, because you guys break down everything. We're more of a vibes podcast over here. We don't get into the weeds of it all. We just,
Vibes are necessary.
Yeah. And
we might have to turn into one soon with the way this season could go.
I think we're starting to transition.
But the vibes, honestly, the vibes have been great with Angel City.
The home games are still fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great experience. The atmosphere's been great. The stadium, I think there's a lot of questions about, they sold out the first game, 22,000 fans in attendance. There's questions about, can they maintain that? Is it going to be, because LA fans, there's stereotypes about us.
Definitely.
A lot of them are rooted in truth, and that we're fickle, we're homers, we're not homers, we're bandwagoners, we're fair weather fans.
I feel like y'all are celebrity obsessed as well.
That too. I mean,
I could keep going on.
Yeah. I mean, you're a Clippers fan, so you've technically become an LA sports fan.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, but I think they've done a good job in maintaining the atmosphere overall and the interest in it. I mean, we have yet to eclipse the 22,000, but I mean, we still lead the league.
Can we even? I thought that was capacity.
It's pretty much capacity. I mean, we just need to sell it out. I mean, we can't eclipse it, but we can meet it, right?
Yeah.
I think we've gotten to 16, 18, 19 a couple times.
Yeah.
A couple of those were midweek too. I was impressed we're still getting 16 on a midweek.
Yeah, the Pride Night game was on a Tuesday night, I think.
And there was another one that was a Wednesday.
So they've done a great job of maintaining the interest, getting people involved, because LA is not an easy market to break into.
No.
Especially as an upstart team. Especially in like women's sports, which is not as watched typically as men's sports. So I think they've done a great job. They're on par with a bunch of MLS teams in terms of attendance. So that, I think kudos to them. But can we take those vibes and bring it onto the pitch is the question. So with that being said, what are your guys' predictions for this game? Because it's gonna be a tough one.
I don't feel good. I don't feel very good going into this one, man.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
So
I'm cautiously
what are you
optimistic.
Draw here, or
I think we'll get. I think they could get the win, but I think it'll be a draw. And here's why. Challenge Cup was rough for us, right? Like it did not go well,
right?
And it clicked in the first home game, and I don't know if I necessarily say this as a compliment, but I think Angel City is a lot like the Galaxy, and like that they'll play at the quality that their opponent plays at.
Yeah.
And like this is a big home game, and I think they'll get up for it.
Okay.
I think they'll get up for it, but at the same time, it's not necessarily a compliment to say that they just play to the quality of their opponent.
Yeah.
Because like we lost to some teams that are like at the bottom of the table.
Orlando is not good. Houston, did we drew against Houston?
Yeah, we drew against Houston.
Well, Houston, they're on the up. They're on the
they
up.
Are. And then like our win is against North Carolina, who's at the bottom.
And then, well, Washington Spirit,
who's doing a lot of ties. Yeah. But still, it's just like I think they'll get up. I'm really just worried though about the offense.
Yeah.
Like without Kristen, Jasmine.
Yeah.
It is so worrying on where they're going to try to go.
Yeah. I'm starting to sour a little bit on Freya, on the coach. I just kind of like going into the season with a forward converted to a defender that was kind of like a big experiment that she was kind of hedging all of her bets on.
We're talking Jasmine Spencer?
Jasmine.
Yeah.
And then like that player goes down and you replace that player with another forward that you're then like again doing this experiment like again on. So like I just wonder about the direction. I wonder if she's losing the locker room a little bit. Like people aren't really playing with a kind of killer instinct and like a type of like nastiness that you need up top to just like force the ball into the goal. Like we're kind of we got Endo really talented with a great left foot doing some like cute things out there that like doesn't really seem to be directed towards like scoring goals. Like everything doesn't seem to be just driven on that. And that's what I admire so much about like an Alex Morgan. That's why I'm not very confident going into this game. The one thing that would make me confident is that sports are unpredictable.
Right.
And so like if you're anybody that knows anything about the NWSL, we should get dragged by the San Diego team. And like sports are unpredictable though, so it could not happen. But
NWSL is unpredictable this year too. You know, like there's been a couple results that I think a lot of people have been surprised by.
It's been chaos since Jump Street.
So it's possible for sure, but we're not tracking the way we want to be tracking into a big rivalry game. I don't think from Angel City's perspective.
But also like big rivalry game is funny to call it that. Even like I guess I'll have to defer to you as the SoCal man. Like, do you have animosity towards San Diego?
I love San Diego. My brother lives there. I visit there a bunch. I have no animosity towards San Diego whatsoever. That being said, when it comes to sports, there's a little bit of a rivalry. It's not like LA, San Francisco,
for sure,
where there's a lot of kind of like Dodgers fans are murdering Giants fans in the parking lot.
Yeah, with like knives and
assaults.
Yeah. So LA and San Diego, not typically a rivalry,
right?
As much as other kind of either inter-LA rivalries or East Coast, West Coast, LA, totally. New York or LA, Boston rivalries. So I'm interested to see how this turns out because they're playing it up to be a rivalry game because they're obviously two new teams and they're two West Coast teams, but
they're right next to each other.
I'm interested to see how like kind of where the animosity is going to be here.
Totally.
Because, but
I wonder if we'll feel it. I wonder if we'll feel any kind of extra nastiness on the field or on the pitch or whatever. Like I think Ricardo would probably be the player I would look to kind of throw an elbow or like put a little extra something into a tackle. But I don't know. It's SoCal's too chill. Like y'all are so chill here. Like you don't have anger. You're all in the sun all the time.
Here's what I will say. I don't want to completely write the rest of the season off, but the fact of the matter is Press and Gordon have torn ACLs, right? So
correct.
We're playing with house money at this point. Is that what you're saying?
And
house music's in.
Playoffs are great, but I don't think we can really expect them at this point. So what's next is beating the rival. And so like this is almost the thing you can kind of say we didn't make the playoffs, but we beat it San Diego twice.
And I don't know. I think that's a good segue point here because if we switch leagues to MLS,
right.
LA, there's a lot of parallels between LA Galaxy and LAFC and Angel City and San Diego, where LAFC is in first place, San Diego's in first place, and then you have LA Galaxy and Angel City, who got off to hot starts and have kind of struggled with inconsistency, and now they're in kind of the middle of the pack. So you have to question, what is each team playing for? Whereas LA Galaxy and San Diego are both playing, they're playing in first place. They're looking to win a championship. Whereas, Angel City and LA Galaxy are playing a little bit more for pride. And, Galaxy have beat LAFC both times that they played so far. Galaxy has a tendency to play up and down to their opponents. We saw them in the U.S. Open Cup with
big time.
They barely beat Cali United Strikers in Nisa, go on to beat the first place team in MLS by a decisive amount. I think they were up 3-0 at one point, or at least 2-0 at one point.
Exactly.
And then go on and lose to Sacramento Republic, which is a USL team. So
don't you think that speaks to the phoniness of MLS, like as a league in general? Like I just feel like my issue with that is watching that, and I'm just like, yeah, this is exactly why we need promotion relegation. Like these teams can get up for a certain rivalry game and perform at a certain level for a specific amount of time, which is just one game. And then the rest doesn't matter. Like you could lose a couple players and then deem the season to be completely lost and just mail it in and then just start over again next year. Fire the coach, get somebody new. Like this is why you need relegation. Everything needs to be connected to everything. It all has to matter.
Yeah.
And in the MLS, it doesn't all matter.
Yeah.
So like the Galaxy knows that they could just drag LAFC, save their coaches' jobs, save their own jobs, and then move on to the next season and just do the bare minimum and like collect the check. Like that's all you have to do in the MLS.
I think this all started from LA Galaxy kind of playing up and down and choosing when to be competitive and not.
Yeah.
So that's been an issue with them this season. They've been super inconsistent. They've
with superstars.
They do. They have a pretty good roster. They do have a strong roster.
Kleshin even, legit. You know,
the
guys-
Jets on
Jets
Revolution
with
now.
Revolution now.
They traded in this offseason, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brucey wanted him back.
Yeah. But
right.
I mean, Julian Araujo, Kevin
Chicha?
Cabral, Chicharito, obviously, but they signed Kevin Cabral, a young guy from France who's has been a little bit of a disappointment, but he's shown flashes of brilliance. Raheem Edwards,
he's kind of having a revival with them,
big time revival season.
I know that name.
Yeah,
for sure.
He also was like stoking the fire. Before the last El Trafico, which I fully support.
We love that. We spoke to Danny Musovsky of LAFC last week or a couple episodes back, and he was talking about how he, they heard the chirping. He obviously played for LAFC in the past, so they knew who they knew his personality, and they loved it. The fans were chanting "Fuck you, Edwards," before the game. So that kind of stuff. I mean, this rivalry, man, like it is so much fun to watch.
It's prime time, man. It's prime time.
It's one of the marquee matchups in MLS.
Absolutely.
We need more of those.
Every fan has something to just take away from this game.
And this would be my thing too to the MLS and their whole marketing branch is like if ESPN has to pay you to broadcast the games, you should kind of take some of that money and pay them to force them to talk about this thing. Like get Stephen A to like talk about this thing, like get the top dogs to be like talking about this thing and make it seem like it matters, because that'll help it matter on the national scale. Yeah, and I think it still hasn't broken into that.
ESPN's, Twellman is their big soccer analyst, and I think that that tells the story.
Yeah,
he has been for 10 years, and like you don't
CBS,
find
I think
a
CBS
single.
has done a good job of
with
coverage,
Gooch and Dempsey and Davies.
I like that three.
Yeah,
I like that dynamic.
But
and the host is good too. What's her name? The British woman. I always forget.
Not Jenny. Jenny Chu's another one of the hosts. But
Jenny Chu's like their sideline on the field.
Right.
Yeah. But I think CBS does do a good job on the reporter side.
Could we see CBS secure some MLS rights?
I know, right? Please.
They do have NWSL rights, but
and I think like we were saying, like it's not exclusive to Apple TV.
Right. Yeah. So MLS is still negotiating with a couple of other outlets for cable packages, national TV packages.
They just need to fire Twellman and like get on with it. Like let's go. Like new blood.
Well,
like let's
Apple
get some new
will
people.
Presumably have to hire. So we'll see who Apple hires.
Yeah.
I just want I want American accents. I want like a crazy Southern accent doing these soccer games just to aggressively get away from the fact that we need a British accent
to bring credibility.
So like bring credibility. Oh, it's football now.
I mean, John Champion's great though. Come on, like.
I like those guys and everything, but you know the point I'm trying to make.
Right. I do know exactly what you're trying to say.
It's an international game. We have tons of people like.
Too, though.
It's like in movies when like Lord of the Rings or whatnot, they just throw guys in with British accents to make it seem like it's foreign. It's out there.
Totally.
It's classy.
Right. Or like any like Roman Empire movie that
just has British accents.
Even though those guys definitely did not have British accents. But
I hope Apple does a good job though of bringing in former players.
Yeah, so I think go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, MLS is kind of getting to the point now where they're old enough they can actually have that happening now. When you're like 15 years, some of those guys aren't actually in the league long enough, or like their careers aren't long enough, and it just wasn't really working. But like they have the history now that I feel like we can actually have players come back and be legit analysts.
Have you guys seen Jimmy Conrad's stuff?
Yeah, he's good.
Jimmy Conrad's fantastic. I love Jimmy.
He brings that. He's got that new media type of YouTube energy.
Yeah. He's before we moved on, but he has an interesting pro rel theory that we should talk about off camera another time.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
I like Jimmy a lot.
Yeah,
he says stuff. He thinks long and hard about it too.
That's for the Patreon members.
That's a subscriber only episode.
Subscriber only. We'll drop the link in the bio and whatnot.
Exactly. No, Jimmy is great. And Kalen Carr has actually done good stuff with MLS too. He's a little nerdy, and like I definitely get why he hasn't like blown up as much as you probably want.
I haven't seen his stuff,
but he does a little more like kind of social. Like he has that docu-series. What's it called? The Movement, where it's like some of the issues going on around soccer in the world and stuff within MLS, and like he'll visit clubs and people they work with and kind of tell their stories and stuff.
Okay.
It's cool, but it's not at all the same tune that Jimmy Conrad is doing it.
Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe we can put together some.
That's a good list right there. Yeah,
a good listicle. Those get the views going. But
the newest. Once Taylor gets fired, who's coming in?
Well, and so the other thing too is like I haven't watched baseball. Apple has MLB.
Baseball.
They have Friday Night Baseball.
Yeah.
Right?
So they've got Katie Nolan, Heidi Watney, and a couple of other broadcasters.
And like the graphics are good. Like it's a high production.
Good production.
Right.
I think the broadcast, I've watched a couple of games. The broadcast itself, they're working through some things, but I think there's a good base. I mean, Katie Nolan in particular is, I think she's got like, she's like an upcoming personality. Yeah. Like she's funny.
And it's kind of nice Apple's doing this with MLB before MLS.
Yeah.
They kind of like, this is their first foray.
Usually MLS is the test tube, the lab rat.
Exactly.
So it's good to see.
Exactly.
Well, MLS is going to overtake MLB in a couple of years with the way things are going.
I love it.
Is that hard for you to say?
No, because as much as I love baseball, I'll always love baseball. It's just boring to watch, man. Like it's just boring to watch.
Yeah.
And
I'll go to a game, but
October
I cannot watch it.
Yeah, going to a game is
great.
great.
I watched a good game the other day between the Braves and damn, I'm gonna blank on the other team. I don't know if it was Braves Dodgers, but it was going late, and people were just kind of ninth inning still like scoring runs and stuff like that back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a million different issues with baseball. It's just they're trying to change things. They're trying to make it faster. It's a slow game by nature. There's 162 games during the year. It's like, dude, there's no like.
It's like a slow game with an insanely long season.
Yeah. Would you say though that like baseball commentators have the right flow and right energy for baseball?
So like 90% of the time in baseball games, the commentator, or not 90%, but I'd say like 40%. They're not talking about baseball at all. And it's great. I love it. They're like going off on tangents. They're telling stories because the game is so slow. Like it
like A-Rod was great for that, wasn't he?
A-Rod was great for humble bragging about his career and how good he was compared to some of these players.
So I went on a date the other night and
exactly like literally like stuff like he'll be like, when I was playing that pitch, I wouldn't have swung at that pitch when I was playing. Like just like literally like, but not, maybe
I
not
liked
that
it
obvious,
though. I liked it. I thought he was kind of a better Tony Romo almost, even like when he was doing that. But I feel like now he's just straight in the studio. He's not really doing like the in-game stuff.
Yeah, he's with, I believe.
But my question though is like the energy was right though for it.
Yes.
Like the energy is off for soccer all the time. When you hear the American broadcast, like Twellman, this is my gripe, this is my beef with him. Yeah. The energy is off. This dude is bringing golf level energy to soccer every single time, regardless of like what the competition is or like who's playing. Like you could watch a Mexican broadcast and those guys go nuts for like whoever's playing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is the place to be. It is the moment that it's happening. We had said this on our article about like criticizing MLS like TV production, right? Because it's just not there. Like you need to be making us the viewer feel like this is the place to be. It's all happening right now. It's the most important shit in the world. Yeah. And instead they're just kind of, doing too many games, flying across the country a little too much. Like they probably get passionate about like Delta flight delays, but they won't get like passionate about like a corner kick happening or whatever, Like it's just missing a certain level of like sting or something to it. Like it needs to be like impactful or whatever. And like he's like Twellman is just like puts you to sleep, man.
I will say this is the one thing I really kind of struggle with ESPN Plus is like they signed the deal with like not every team. So like you only get certain teams broadcasts and some teams have bad broadcast teams. And I just don't want to watch that game.
So you're watching like the local broadcast.
Yeah, ESPN Plus will give you the local broadcast of one team, but not the other, right? And so it's like if you're stuck with a bad broadcast group, I just won't watch that game. Yeah. And it's like the same exact kind of thing. And that's where it's like really high risk, high reward with the way Apple's doing it and with this new deal of doing no local broadcasts, no blackouts, which is cool.
No blackouts is super cool.
Right, yeah.
Super cool. Yeah. But like if the announcers are bad, like it might be a rough season, you know? Like because that's who's going to be doing the games.
Well, I posed in our article, like, go and get young comedians. Mm-hmm. Like, go and get people whose job it is to talk and be funny.
Do you guys remember when Sky used to do the games where they would have a fan from each team be in the announcer's booth?
No.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. I don't know if I ever saw one.
I remember.
That's great.
They had to stop doing it for legitimate reasons because it would just devolve into shit talking, and the goal celebrations were ludicrous,
That's probably exactly what we want.
So exciting for neutrals.
Right.
If it wasn't your team, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Because the passion
you
and
became
the energy
invested.
was there.
Yeah. Right.
And so I'm not necessarily saying they need to bring that back because it definitely had its problems, but it had an energy to it that was so fun to watch. And I do miss that.
But we got to bring some WWE energy.
Right?
It is.
I mean,
this is where white people are ruining shit too. We are just bringing the boringness to the sport that doesn't need to be boring, but we're inserting it there.
Those are interesting thoughts. I mean, those are some hot takes, but I do appreciate them, and that's why we're here. But what are your guys' final predictions for both Angel City, San Diego, and LAFC LA Galaxy?
El Trafico? I don't know. I think the Galaxy have LAFC's number. I think they're going to do 2-1 or something.
You think we're going sweep?
I
Galaxy
think so.
sweep.
I think so because I don't know. I don't think the Galaxy are going to necessarily even make the playoffs. I think they're just going to be that team to LAFC, and it's going to be in their head. I will always. I mean, because LAFC's never won at Dignity.
No, they haven't. They haven't won at.
That's crazy,
right? This is a mental thing. This has really become a game where the form outside it matters, but it almost doesn't anymore. And I love that. So I think the Galaxy are going to do it.
Scoreline?
I'm going to go 2-1. 2-1 Galaxy.
2-1 Galaxy. I'll probably go 1-1. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be a highly contested, 1-1 kind of thing. I think.
Yeah.
And then for the ladies, I think we're probably going. I'd say 2-0 to be conservative. San Diego. Yeah. I think they'll probably get one in, and then I think we're just gonna be trying so hard to not embarrass ourselves that I think we could manage to do 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, another shutout. No, that makes sense.
I think we're gonna go 1-1.
1-1.
1-1. I thought we were gonna get blown out by the rain, and it was only 1-0.
Yeah.
So that kind of has me thinking maybe we can do it.
We got Portland coming up this Friday. We're filming a little bit earlier. We're recording a little bit earlier. True. So we got Portland this Friday. I think that'll tell the test.
That'll be a big one. Yeah. That'll be a big one.
Portland has been almost as good as San Diego has.
But anything could happen game to game, like we were saying in the NW. We could get blown out. We could get dragged by Portland and then come back and beat San Diego. I mean, it's just, any given Sunday, it's still...
Any given Sunday.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I think LAFC is going to... They're gonna pull it through. I say they get their stuff together. They
scoreline.
I'm gonna say they're at the bank. They're gonna it's gonna be raucous. There's gonna be fights in the stands as always. There's gonna be lots of beer throwing. I think it's gonna be 2-0 LAFC. I think
Dos a cero.
Yeah, 2-0. I think they're gonna hold their stuff together. And then as for Angel City, I honestly don't know what to expect for this game. Depends on who we field.
It's really tough.
The roster has just been so. I mean, as much as we criticize Freya for keeping the same lineup in, I mean, with the amount of injuries, it's we're forced to
switch it up,
switch things up.
That's the weird critique of her. Sorry, not to cut you.
Yeah, no, go for it.
It's like she switches it up, but then doesn't switch it up. It's a very weird. I'm just at this point, play the defenders at defense and play the midfielders at midfield and put the attackers up top and let's see what happens. Right. May the best 11 win, but kind of moving around positions when you're already down a number of players, is way overly ambitious. She needs to reel it in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull through against San Diego.
It'll be tough.
So I'm going to say it's going to be 3-1. I think San Diego's offense is But
Yeah.
San Diego,
up 3-0 early.
Yeah, we get like a Simone Charlie like bout of magic.
If we get one of our first 5-minute goals, though, who knows?
You never
Yeah,
know.
I
You
mean,
really
we
never
love
know.
those things.
We love those.
We love an
That's
early goal.
Yeah,
we do.
All right, listen, guys, this was great. It was great to have you guys on the show. We've been talking about this for a while. Obviously, the Urban Pitch connection is strong here. Do you want to, before we wrap up, do you want to just give it a little shout where the people can find you? I think that's your camera right there. So let them know where they can find you, when the next episode is, and just spread the word.
Totally. You can find me on Twitter at Scoblevision, SCOBLE Vision, and I'm that on Instagram as well, actually. And for episodes, we do them after every home game for Angel City. We try to record within 48 hours and then kind of have it out by 72 hours.
Yeah, we're super independent with no bosses.
Yeah.
So we try and get that thing out as quick as we
We're
can.
flexible.
Schedule and hangovers permitting. But also, it's the Above the Clouds podcast, and find us on Spotify and
Apple, Amazon, Stitcher. We're on like 9 platforms right now.
on a good amount of platforms.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we'll get a sponsor.
Yeah. And we got cool intro music. And
We do.
Dude, your guys' intro is great.
This guy.
Yeah, with like how it fades out
Yeah.
into the like the heavenly,
Right?
You know what I mean? Like,
that was like 99% of the vision going into it, you know.
you're gonna get Guru giving a cease and desist.
I know we talked about
the Guru
this.
Estate's gonna give you a cease and desist.
RIP, but yeah, hopefully DJ Premier is cool with us.
Yeah.
Using that beat. And I'm on Twitter at Jeremy Rist, and would love to chat with y'all. Let's do some hashtag ProRel for USA.
Hashtag ProRel for USA.
Big pro for USA Twitter
There we go.
resident.
Yeah.
But again, guys, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thanks for having
It's great
us.
having you on.
We'll have to get you on the pod soon.
Yeah, definitely. Once Julio's back,
We know you're at the games. We've been seeing you.
Yeah.
You're out there.
Yeah.
You're outside.
We're
You're in
outside.
the field.
We're there. Yeah. But thank you for everybody watching. Thank you for everyone listening.
Thank you.
Be sure to obviously like, comment, subscribe, leave a review, roast us, roast the hot takes, do whatever your heart desires. If it's good enough, we'll reply. We'll read it on air. But
Your roast is actually a sick burn.
yeah.
If you sick burn, we'll respond.
We're here for the banter. That's what we do this for. Shout out to Believe. Shout out to Bet Online, our sponsor, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Hey
Next episode
Julio,
and
thanks
at
for letting
the
us
bank.
fill in too,
Yeah.
man.
Thank you, Julio.
You've been hilarious. We've been loving
Shout out
it.
to
So
Julio.
get well and come
Yeah.
back soon.
Seriously.